one of you and say, God, I am willing. Use me. Use me for your purposes. Liberty is God's idea, not man's idea.
Nobody does what we do at Turning Point USA, but it starts with all of you. This is about saving Western civilization.
Sadly, we just started getting word just a couple of moments ago that Charlie Kirk has been shot.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
The next speaker is a very, very special speaker. She is my hero and the love of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
For over a decade, one movement surged through college campuses all across the country. What started off as a small group of conservative debaters turned into one of the most influential organizations in American politics, Turning Point USA. And the man behind it, Charlie Kirk. Charlie's star grew, but his mission stayed the same: empower young Americans to embrace faith, freedom, and family, and open debate. But everything changed on September 10th. Charlie's death was a turning point for the country. We all remember where we were when we found out Charlie died. And we remember how we felt: sickened, and then resolute. Charlie's gone, but his mission is far from over. Today, the new chapter begins, and his widow Erika is taking the reins. Fox was lucky enough to get unprecedented access behind the scenes with Erika and the whole Turning Point team. They're picking up the torch and carrying a movement that Charlie created. And from here, it's only getting bigger. But to understand how we got here, we have to go back to how it all started. And that's where we begin. My exclusive sit-down interview with Erika Kirk. Who was Charlie Kirk?
I can't help but smile when I hear his name or say it. He was the love of my life, still is. Phenomenal father. Incredible man, good friend, very loyal. He had a great dry sense of humor. He built something so incredible, and he was a bridge in our country, meaning he had the gift of communication. He could talk to the younger generations. He could talk to a donor group. He could talk to the President of the United States.
Charlie and Erika first met through their mutual friend, the now COO of Turning Point, Tyler Boyer. Erika, a college athlete and former Miss Arizona, had graduated from Arizona State University. She was living in New York City, and Tyler had what he thought was the perfect job for her.
He said, we have this youth organization, we'd love to get you involved. I briefly met Charlie for maybe 2 minutes. Quick handshake, hi, nice to meet you. Mind you, I did not know after that brief meeting that Tyler and Charlie had sat down, and Tyler was like, this is the girl that I need to hire for something with regard to the faith component of the outreach that they were trying to start. And he was like, so next time you're in New York, you really should sit down with her. And then that kind of sparked into everything else.
They did end up having that meeting in New York, and what started as a job interview quickly drew the spark that Erika was talking about.
And so then we had a great time, and it was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her, and now we know how that worked quite well.
He grilled me for hours. Grilling is probably not the proper term, but we debated back and forth. Philosophy, politics, theology, anything that Charlie loved to talk about, we talked about it. And afterwards, he was done eating, and he just looked at me and he goes, I'm not going to hire you. And I said, I did not need the job. I said, I was fine with consulting with you guys if you needed anything with regard to help. I have plenty of things going on in New York City. He said, I'm going to date you. I said, you don't want to just be friends for a little bit?
And I told her I had enough friends and that I didn't want to be friends with her, so that was kind of a non-starter. But if she wanted to date, that would be great. I had enough friends. And I think she still finds that to be very funny, but I meant it.
And I tried to process that on the walk home, and that's when I called my mom. And she was like, oh, are you working with them? Are you going to get a job with them? And I was like, no, but I got a boyfriend. And it was a moment. I literally had to walk home to process everything that just happened because, again, the Lord knew that I needed a man that was going to be so assertive, not play games, not say, yeah, let's just be friends and see how it goes. Let's just talk it out. No, he was so direct. He was so clear. I want to date you with the intention of marrying you. He didn't want to waste his time. He didn't want to waste mine.
When did you know you were in love?
He knew immediately. And I knew there was something there. But I, prior to that, was praying that if he was to be my future husband, that the Lord would make it so clear that I would have such a peace about it, outside of it wearing a suit, outside of work-related events. And he just was amazing.
Turning Point meant a lot too. This campus was just 2 buildings at the time, but the organization was already well on its way to becoming a force in American politics.
You know, it's funny about leftists on college campuses. They think they're being rebels, yet all their friends are liberal, their teachers are liberal, the music they listen to is liberal, the textbooks they read are liberal, the entire culture they live in is liberal. They're being conformists. If you want to be a rebel on campus, be a conservative on a college campus. There's nothing rebellious about that.
We would just engage with everything. That there was no separation between his work life and his home life. And I was so proud of him, and I would tell him, baby, you don't have to rush home. When you come home, home is waiting for you. I was never the type of wife that looked at my phone and said, okay, you better be home at 5 o'clock for dinner when I have it on the table. Never. I said, home is here for you when you get home. Dinner will be ready whenever you're ready to eat. I will never make you feel guilty for pursuing what the Lord has put on your heart.
Did you know right away that Charlie was destined for something larger than life?
Charlie has a great disposition about him, so I knew that he was never going to be just, he operated, everyone knew this, the way he operated his life, he wasn't going to waste time, and he wasn't going to waste the one life that the Lord has blessed him with. When you get married to someone you love, you never think, oh, I mean, at least we didn't, what our future was going to look like. It's not that you sign up for something. You just marry the love of your life, and however that unfolds, it unfolds. And we both have very similar understandings, and I knew, obviously I knew his life would be important. All of our lives are important. But all I cared about was loving him and being a wife to him, being a mother to his children. That to me was so much more important. Everything else I could care less.
Charlie was so disciplined. He had his routine.
I know.
He worked out.
He did.
He did his reading.
Yeah.
Are you now stepping into that?
Him and I are very similar from the standpoint of making yourself a better person as life goes on. We all live many lives, and we all are constantly trying, at least Charlie and I, we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. We always worked out, we had the same trainer, because him and I were athletes. It always goes back to the basic and simple things. He loved eating clean, he loved all of that stuff, but something that was so powerful about Charlie is that he mastered self-control. He mastered, he would say, know your nature. He mastered that. He perfected that. From the standpoint of, yes, he was very hard on himself. I have the journals to prove it. Very hard on himself. But he held himself to such a high standard because he wanted the people that were around him to be better also. And he wasn't going to be a leader that told people what to do and not do it.
He worked so hard.
He did.
He was the hardest working person in my business I've ever seen. Was that hard for you guys to balance that work and the family?
So when we first started dating and when we were first married, we would travel everywhere together. We were on the road 350 some days out of the year. And then once we had our first child, it was an adjustment period because I wanted to be home with our little one. But he was so good about always wanting to come home. Always wanted to come home. And I wanted to make sure that he wanted to come home. Again, that's why I never said, "What are you doing? Why are you gone? Why are you traveling so much?" I never had those questions because I knew his heart and I knew what he was doing was so important. And he always included me in it. And there were times where I would go to his events and there were times where I wouldn't, but it was a family-oriented mission. So I never once was threatened by that because I was a part of it.
He wrote you letters. Charlie wrote you letters.
I know.
Every week?
Every Saturday. So he would turn his phone off to honor the Sabbath. He would come in, open the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer. Open the junk drawer, said Shabbat Shalom, put it in there, turn the phone off, slam the door, and he felt so free because he was unreachable for 24, 48 hours.
Did you see Charlie change in the 7 years that you knew him? How did he change?
When he became a father, and you know this, when you become a parent, it changes you. When you become a husband or a wife, it changes you. I mean, being on the altar and making a covenant with the Lord and saying, this is my person, it changes you. You become one. Everything becomes one. Nothing is separated. And it was just powerful because I got to see him grow, not just in wisdom. He read a lot of books. Wisdom, but he grew in patience. And you can see that on campus too. You see the evolution of him going from holding the mic all the time to then putting it down, taking a sip of his tea, throwing in a throat coat, and just listening. You could see how he evolved into this incredible man who he mastered himself.
He became more tranquil as he grew older.
He did, and that was a huge testament to his faith because he realized more and more, this is not about Charlie Kirk.
Is there one thing that you know about Charlie that no one else knows that you want to share?
Okay, so he would name all of my daughters and my son's stuffed animals, every single one of them. His favorite animal was the platypus. It's so random, but it's so funny because it was such a utility animal. And it's not even an animal you would think of. And I remember when I went to the San Diego Zoo with my daughter, and we found the platypus shirt there, and I had her put it on, and Charlie was like, "How did you find that shirt?" And I was like, "We just so happened to go to the zoo, and they had a platypus." He was blown away.
I'm glad we didn't embarrass him too much there.
Yeah.
We saw these clips go viral afterwards about him being a father. Mm-hmm. Let's look at some of those.
Okay. It's so fun. That was a great day.
So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City. And right near this very table was the first time Dad met Mama. And it started as a job interview. And I was asking all these questions, philosophy, religion, Jesus.
So fun. He was so fun.
What kind of relationship did he have with each child?
When you ask that, I can't get this image out of my head of, you know, this feeling too, where you see your husband come home, or you as the father come home, and the kids just run to you. His relationship with them was so precious because they're so little. So it's not like you're teaching them these amazing things, but somehow he still found a way to incorporate it in little ways. But his relationship with them was so pure and precious because you see him being on stage in front of thousands of people, commanding the presence, telling them all about Western civilization, telling them all about what's going on in the world, telling them why they should care. And then you see him come home and just be a dad. Go play with them in the pool. Love on them. Tickle them. Play with them. Like, even if it was just with his stuffed animals. Play with them.
What do you see of him in
the
them?
kids? It's funny because my son loves to throw balls and baseball bat and footballs. And my sweet daughter, she's starting now to want to say little speeches. So we all are sitting there to listen. But you know what's so sweet is that my daughter's starting to want to put our son to bed at night in his crib. And so it's very meticulous of how it's done. So it's a little bit Charlie of like making sure that it's the right rhythm. And we put him in the crib and then I say, okay, mommy's leaving. And she sits there and I just watch her on this video of singing Jesus Loves Me to him. And that's the song that Charlie would sing to her. Never said, okay, now you need to sing that to your brother. So I feel like it's little moments like that where I'm like, that's you, Charlie. That's you. You're there. Yeah.
You're very protective of your children's privacy.
Yes.
As Charlie's profile grew, were you concerned?
We live in a day and age where the internet feels so entitled to everything. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, explain this, explain that. And we live in a world where children don't even have a childhood anymore. You know, why are you posting a photo of your kids so that you can get $50 off a stroller? Like, that does not make sense to me.
Crazy.
If you can't afford a stroller, buy one you can afford. Like, that makes sense to me. But to use your child or a photo of you standing in the bathroom embracing them specifically and you have 500 copies of that same pose so you can get it right for social media is bizarre to me. And it was to Charlie too. And our babies are not for anyone else's viewing other than ours in our family. And why would I want AI images of my children out there? Why would I want, and yeah, we get kidnapping threats, we always have. We get death threats, we always have. You're just smart about it. Protect what you love. Protect who you love.
I want to show you a video of Charlie talking about TPUSA.
Okay.
Well, you're about to embark on something that is much bigger than yourself. This is about us. This is about the country. And the eyes of the whole nation are again on Turning Point. We're building something bigger than you, bigger than me. We're building an experience to help save the country. And if this type of intensity bothers you, well, then don't go work for Turning Point USA. You can go work for the Department of Labor or something, okay? Because here we do excellent things. We do big things. We make history here at Turning Point USA. It's going to be early mornings. It's going to be late nights. But you all get to know that you're doing something rewarding. That is not just, a career and you check the box, but lives will be changed. I mean, how blessed are we that we get to be here celebrating the country and this is our job? It's pretty awesome. There's the one thing that I hear from speakers throughout all the years. Your team is so impressive, and they're so young. Why is it, everybody? Because for us, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. This is not just another DC gig. This is about saving Western civilization.
It's the longest video I've watched of him. Just give me a second.
Take your time. Charlie was on a mission to save Western civilization. Did you know that's what you signed up for?
Well, no, I didn't sign up for anything. I just married the love of my life. Just so happens that that's what he was doing.
Tell me about the day before the shooting.
He was at the office and we were going to meet for dinner beforehand with a dear friend of ours who I wanted to just be with us and pray with us before the event. It's no hidden secret that stuff on campus is heating up. You see people on campus coming on with guns prior to the event that happened with Charlie, the assassination with Charlie. And so I know that, you know, you and I even talked about how I used to say, you know, Charlie, have you ever thought about wearing a vest? He would nod to that and be like, you know, I've looked into it. But he'd always say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. He wasn't afraid. Wouldn't have mattered anyways if you wore a vest.
Erika's mom was dealing with a medical issue, so she stayed in Phoenix to care for her. She planned to join Charlie at the next scheduled Turning Point event at Colorado State just a few days later.
He was like, home needs you. Home needs you. Be home. Come with me on Thursday to the next event we have. And so for him, that night, he was so excited. I mean, he just was like, I can't wait. It's going to be the best. And he got up around 2:45, 3-ish to go into the kitchen to grab a snack. And our daughter had woke up around that same time. We live in a small space, so you can kind of hear when everyone's kind of shuffling around. And so she came to our room, and she stayed in our bed. And he always loved when Gigi slept in our bed because she's, you know, little ones, they like curl up inside of you and like they're just nuzzled in. But you also know that it can be very acrobatic when a 3-year-old is in your bed and somehow their feet end up on your face. So I said, I want you to have a good night's sleep. Go ahead and sleep in her room. And I'll turn the air down so it's nice and cozy in there. And I just want you to get a good night's sleep so you can be amazing tomorrow. And so Gigi and I stayed in our room. And that morning he woke up super early and he came into our bedroom, into the bathroom, because that's where his wedding ring was and his necklace. And he came in and he grabbed that. And then he left. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.